YouTube? We are back with some more Matchplay commentary for you guys. I am joined by the brother from another mother, the highwayman himself, TJ.
Do you think, like, when royalty wear crowns, right? Like, if they wore that like all day, do you think they ever had what if they were allergic?
They got like a nickel allergy or like a
Yeah. Like, what do they do? Do they just be like, ah, damn, that's tough. I can't wear my crown.
With how like rigid people were back in the day, I wouldn't be surprised.
They just had the or they just were like,
or maybe they just like wore it.
allergy.
So like, what if it just stuck? They got an allergic reaction and it just stuck to their head, never coming off.
Took it off.
Yeah.
Like Riddick with his goggles.
Exactly.
Okay.
But anyhow, we've got some more webcam 2.5 matches for you guys. Like I said in the previous video, with some of the shipment stuff, and I think people just accumulating pieces in general, and just pre-release week as well. We haven't had a chance to record like physical matches, but we will be getting back to that soon enough. I believe this upcoming Thursday at Sully's is going to be like a regular local, so definitely should be exciting to see like a bunch of other people like play like a bunch of stuff, because this set has a breadth of things that we're going to be seeing. So be on the lookout for it. But in the meantime, hope you're enjoying these cam matches that my buddy Josh and I were able to get for you guys. Really good player, really great guy. And if you want to check out his channel, I will link that down in the video description below. He does Twitch and some occasional YouTube stuff, so check him out. But today's video features Royal Knights, played by myself on the left, and Josh is piloting Zephaga. He is really, really good at Zephaga. If you haven't seen, or if you're looking for a list, he did do a deck profile for us too, so I'll link that in the video description as well. He's gotten like really good at it, and I think he's definitely like showing me how like crazy this deck can be. It's definitely got like a high, like what's the word for it? Like it's like a high skill level. Like there's
a high skill ceiling. It's a deck that's it's definitely not a deck that I would recommend to somebody as a first time player. It's fun, it's cool, but it is not a first timer deck. It absolutely has a very it's an elevated skill ceiling that takes them doing to get used to.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking on how to pilot this deck, look no further. I, on the other hand, have been having a lot of fun with Royal Knights, so this was just a way for me to keep testing and practicing the deck and have some fun with it. So let us know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If there are any other decks from 2.5 that you're hoping to see, let us know as well, and I'll try to see what we can do at locals. Check out our socials, which are linked down in the video description below. And lastly, hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. And without further ado, let's hop right into the round.
How was the rest of your tournament run, by the way? I know you had the camera issues.
Yeah, the stream fizzled out because I was a little dumb and left my camera on in between rounds. But no, it went well. I ended up bubbling out of prizing, which was a little tough. Played against Marcos, our Latam's second place player in the last round, and got my cojones kicked with Purple Hybrid.
Yeah, the last thing I saw was we're just running it. Yeah, so I was gonna say the last thing I saw was you were playing against the Sylphie player, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. No, but the deck is feeling really nice. I was not a believer until you convinced me.
I told you.
And the more I play it, I'm like, oh, this feels fun.
Speaking of decks that I think have high skill ceilings, I think Royal Knights is one of those, right? And it's like, as much as I like to hate on Demon Lords, I would also say the same. Like, you can tell the difference between a good Demon Lords player and a bad Demon, or maybe not bad, but not as practiced. Maybe, right? And I think the same thing goes for Royal Knights, Zephaga. Like, there's definitely certain decks where they kind of just play themselves a little bit, where it's like, if you see your ideal combo, you're kind of just good, you do the thing you want to do. But there's also a lot of decks nowadays, just because of the game, just getting more and more cards added to it, that do have a lot of player expression, skill ceilings, there's a lot of stuff you can do. Was that the chase? Was that the SP?
My boy is blinging it out.
Oh boy, he is. I mean, if you're good with it, why not?
And then he does this, and I'm like, you son of a gun, medieval.
Yeah. Suspend, Vortex.
Suspend will not Vortex into Omeka, but will use the medieval effect to just pop the Lord Knight, which is fair.
Okay.
And I will say too, the medieval, running into it just hurts a lot.
It's a powerful card. It's like when you see it,
Yeah.
it's just like, okay, I have to deal with this before I can really do the rest of the things that I would prefer to do.
And speaking of dealing with it though, it did feel kind of nice when he did ace me. I think he was a little bit focused on getting rid of not letting me tuck my Omeka. So he aced play there to bottom deck it, and then I Oryukened to pop the ace. Oryuken would play out for reduced cost of 7, or for 2, would be for 2 cost. I gained the overflow and played Lord Knight for the full, letting me play out a Magna. Which is really good, because he has no way to really respond to that, and now I have all the sources underneath Drazzle.
Yeah, you're cooking. That's a, you were just climbing. And that's the thing too, Royal Knights is so fast now.
Yeah.
It can be very explosive on top of just having such better means of control. Oryuken Ace has been huge for the card. Omni-X obviously has been huge for the deck as well. That's the card initially, then the deck. Gallant X is also a really powerful card when paired with things like Purged, like what you have right there. It's scary.
So Josh is doing some things here. So essentially, went into the Grand Gale, suspended it to make it immune, and then went ahead, did some things where he was able to pop my Magna by swinging into it, and then would restand, and then swung again, was punished by hitting a Genku Insecurity. I then go ahead and play out Jessamon first, play out a token, then go Gallant X off of the Purge, like you said. We go ahead, swing, and then end of attack. So I hit the card that played out, and then we go ahead and pop it. So we don't get the restand, unfortunately. And then we Purge, tucking in, I believe it's a Dynast, and then we gain 3.
Yeah, the Dynast. Okay.
So, like you said, this deck can go a lot faster now. And you do have some aggression pieces like Gallant X, Jess having a token that has decoy and blocker is really nice. But it is now vulnerable to piercing, as we will shortly see here. So Josh is able to swing into his Zephaga. Whoa.
Whoop. Tossed it.
So Shoto will let him restand, or he restands off of his effect. Then Shoto lets him swing and then do all the things with the Grand Go restand again. And he's an immune big boy.
How did he clear 2? Oh, he restood, swung over, and then he kind of turned. Okay, I see. All right. He's immune to Digimon effect, so he's fine. However, the -15 does linger until the end of opponent's turn, I believe. Yeah,
right.
So that will clear his back.
The amount of times I've just dropped Oryuken, I'm like, wow. Yeah. That's like a 2-cost removal. It feels so good.
It's basically just it's like Wyvern's Breath or something like that for Royal Knights, pretty much. It's just it is a removal card that just furthers your game plan still. It is very nice. It's very helpful.
We go ahead, swing with the token, hit a Shoto. So now we're reducing. We go ahead, play Omni out for a reduced cost of 1. Go ahead and play all the lads out. Cool Boy, which is also really huge for the deck. We haven't talked about that yet. Being able to gain memory and draw for consistency, and then we can just start doing Royal Knights things and just swing for the fences.
Yeah, you do the old faithful.
Yeah.
And that's game 1.
That's game 1.
Yeah, no, Royal Knights is it's so cool. It is such a fun deck. Speaking of some of the pieces I got, so during the pre-release today, I pulled Omni-X.
Yeah.
And my God. It's one thing to be to look at the card and be like, yeah, it's pretty bust, it's pretty strong, and then to use it and to see what it does to people. It is it's just gross. It is just a gross card. It does so much. There are so many times where I'd Evo into it I'd bottom deck something, and then I'd like end of turn, I'd like just like raid pierce, swing through something.
Well,
And
that's
my opponent would have to like look at the card and be like, wait, it does all that? And like look at it and be like, yeah, it just does all that. And I just every time I'd be like, yep, it's just stupid. It's just stupid.
Well, another thing that, you know, the more I started playing as the day went on, I'm like, you know what? Like, it's actually not too bad to just purge, tuck that bad boy underneath, and then like play him out. Like, you don't have to wait till the very end to use him. You could go early purge, tuck an Omni X, and be like, he's coming, daddy. Like
you,
big boy's
don't
coming.
Need the on play. The rating alone can just be so big because he's 16k. He's huge.
Yeah.
Naturally, and he'll still pierce for damage, like everything. He's just crazy. Such a good card. Also, the fact that you can like swing with him, do your whole thing, and then end of turn attack with him again.
Right.
You can just attack without suspending. Is just gross.
So here we're stuck a little bit in terms of our hand. So we are having to play stuff out for a little bit more of an expensive cost, but it's still not bad. I mean, like Dionys to go to 2. We have a Cool Boy established is by no means a bad situation. So we tuck the Dionys in, but reducing being able to play the Magna out for free. Cool Boy gains me 1 memory, and I get to draw. We purge, tucking Omeka underneath to gain 3. And we go Last Guardian to cycle another 3, pick up a piece. We can pick up a Cool Boy as well. And we'll choose to pick up Cool Boy and the Genku.
Yeah, good.
That's pretty good.
After playing today, is there anything you would change with your build right now? I'm assuming this is the same build.
Something maybe to deal with a Floodgate, but honestly, I'm liking what I feel right now. I think this has been pretty good. Josh goes Grangale, will climb into a Zephaga Ace, has the Shoto to be able to restand and swing in a security for a check, and he'll go ahead and do it again, restand off of his own effect, choose to swing again if he would like to. And that's the scary thing about Zephaga, is that if you sequence things correctly, you can restand a lot. Like, it almost, like, borders, like, Imperial level of restand. And he just goes ahead, passes turn with a Shoto.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. I don't have, like, a lot of sources, so I'm a little bit behind here. I'm only reducing by 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, and he's done a lot of damage to you so far.
Well, I mean, one thing that is working in my favor is that the Ace is somewhat vulnerable to this. And he doesn't have anything out on board just yet. No, he's not buffed enough right now. So we'll do that, and then we just run the army of Omekas and pass turn. And then we'll lose the memory, going to 0. If I had another way to choke him to like 3, I would have loved to, but unfortunately I just didn't. But I think putting him at 0 is actually not too bad either, because he's gonna have to give me some memory.
Right.
This is not the worst thing in the world.
Pays 1 for something, or
he gained 1 off of Shoto, and then he paid 2 to Evo into Gale. So
I should look at your memory counter, not his, because it's backwards. The whole thing's reversed.
Swing, and Old Faithful got jamming. That boy. That stupid
Omeka
boy.
really is. He's the Iceman nowadays. That's what he is.
I'm like, well, it would have been nice if he died, but it's alright. So here I'm like, okay. I need to do something to establish blockers.
Right.
As best I can, and I didn't really have a good way, so I'm like, well, let's play a cheap Royal Knight out, and then hopefully draw into it. And I was like, well, at least we get an Omni X. We at least bait that out there, because I do have an Omeka in there, so he has to play around that now. But so the Last Guardian played, we gained 3 back, and there's really no good way to pass turn with what's in my hand right now, so we end up just passing, which is a little rough.
Okay, so what does Josh do? Okay, goes Grangale, will suspend himself, give himself protection from Digimon effect. Now what? It's sitting pretty.
Yeah, I think he can choose to be a little bit patient here, which might be the play. But at the same time, too, he sees that I've got like Purge, I've got the Oryukin, I've got, or not Oryukin, sorry. I can't get the on play effect, but I think he's in a good spot to go medieval. Yep, which is fair.
Sure.
Because
something.
Go ahead, pop the Omeka, and then go ahead.
Piercing blocker on suspend. Thinking vortex and swing through.
Gain some memory, and then we'll be able to swing. Now we're like, okay, we'll play Omeka out, and then he uses his on play suspend and pop effect.
Turns effect to pop you, yeah.
And he'll take game 2. It's a very smart sequencing of like when to proc the medieval effect, and also just utilizing medieval as an in-archetype top end, which, like, I think that's the crazy part about Zephaga, is that if you're a good enough pilot, you can manipulate things on your own to get to a situation where you're in a good spot, and then you take a card like medieval that's already busted in other decks, and now you have the like inline archetype
the deck it's supposed to be in with.
Yeah.
The deck it was designed for, but it is funny how medieval Gallant, like, it's clearly designed to be like, you know, like it can play in anything, but it was obviously made with like Shoto's whole deck in mind, but somehow it like the deck still just does not do it. I part of me thinks that I think a lot of people just aren't very good at playing the deck, and I'm not trying to be like mean, but I think it takes a lot more thought than other decks do.
Oh no, absolutely.
And other decks can like still do more, or you know, like as much if not more. Because I do think Zephaga is probably like realistically a very, very good deck. I'd say it's probably like top of 1.5.
Oh yeah,
It like in reality of like what's available to it, maybe even higher. The reality is just it's harder to play, and admittedly, green itself also just kind of struggles as a color with like some of its like option support and different things like that.
So he's got some pretty good setup. He's got a Shoto ready to go. He's got a training. I'm very behind. My hand is not great. And I plan on Omeka thinking that maybe I can unbrick myself a little bit and get some like sources tucked with it.
Yeah.
But the scary part too is that if you float a body out with Zephaga, like with some of their inheritables, as we'll see here, you give them a lot of gas as well. Yeah, I think at this point too, yeah, Josh doesn't really care if I can tuck a source off of Omeka this time around, because now he's just going through his own game plan, and he already knows I'm behind too. So
yeah.
Purge, tuck the Omeka, gain the 3, choke to 1, and that's all I can really do.
Yeah, 2 trainings. He has the EX7 Shoto on board. That Grand Gale has a lot of potential right now. Yeah, we'll training into Zephaga. We'll be able to suspend itself on suspend. It'll gain the protections. Can swing for a check, get big numbers.
Yep, he is 16 right now. He hits the Omni, so just lives and then plays out.
Bigger than that.
+3, +2.
Those are +2k inheritable, so he's +4.
Oh, +4. So he's a big number, so yeah.
He's like 18, I think, right now, something like that.
Yeah, and here I'm like, okay, well, if I float bodies out, I'm in even more trouble. So if I'm not ready to do anything, let me just keep digging and keep trying to hope that I'm given a window to do something. And I just wasn't getting into any useful Royal Knights. I think at this point I have 2 Omni X's in hand and a Cool Boy. Yeah. And I'm like, I could play him out. I'm just waiting for the next turn where he'll be potentially cheaper. But regardless, it's not looking great for your boy.
Yeah, you're in a tough spot. I mean, he has a lot of swings on deck here. But I don't know if it's enough to kill you, but even then, you have a hill to climb.
Yeah, it's not enough to kill me right now. What could be kind of tricky is, or not tricky, but cheeky, is if he's able to get the starter deck Shoto out on board. And then he decides to say, you will not play tonight by going into medieval. And now I'm like, okay, well, medieval is just absolutely going to destroy me.
Right.
So I think here he's like, do I push the aggression or do I just be a little bit patient? And I think either way is not wrong. I mean, I have 3 cards in hand. I feel like at this point you might as well just go for it.
Right.
Because, I mean, what's the worst you hit in security? That is the new Shoto from 20, is it?
The one that basically cycles into another Shoto.
Yeah. Go Grand Gale. Will suspend itself to give itself immunity. We'll go ahead and restand off of the Shoto. And then calls it a day. Gives me 1 memory to work with.
Yeah, you're in a bit of a tight spot. You do have 2 purges. You have less Guardian.
Yeah. We're at 1. And I'm like...
tucked? Do you have a Gallant X tucked in there right now?
I have a Gallant X tucked in, yep.
Okay. And Genku. I feel like there's stuff you can do, right?
Well, I thought about purging, but I'm like, well, I'm not immune to effects off of Gallant X. I'd have to pass turn to get him immune, so medieval would just pop me. I go ahead and just use 1 to see if he'll just fizzle, or not fizzle it out, but like if he'll just go ahead and
use it.
I didn't want to play the other source out because then it makes it even harder for me to play anything else out because now my sources are gone.
Well, this is the crazy thing too. You can't even just willy-nilly swing over like medieval and Zephaga in this deck because Zephaga ace.
Right. Right. So we Omni X.
Yeah.
And then so what we're doing is we're choosing 1. So we're choosing to, I think I miss sequences here because I don't read. I need to actually start reading my cards.
Yeah, I'm playing you bottom deck something.
Well, you choose 1 Digimon each, and you delete everything else. So I believe
Well, that's only if you have X anybody in sources.
Right. So then we bot deck something. We both don't catch that, unfortunately.
Okay.
Because I think we're also like at this point we're pretty tired because it's like hour 2 of like grinding stuff.
No, you're good. No worries.
We go ahead and attempt to swing, and this is where I get punished for that. So we go ahead and attempt to check. He will Zephaga ace. Choose not to bottom deck it. And we'll just leave it suspended. And then passes into his turn.
Okay. So a bit tough for Josh. He should still have majority of his board right now.
Yeah.
Thing gone, I think. I mean, it still would have been the same play. They just would have been like, I'm assuming just would be 1 more thing on board. That's all. You put your Mechamon out.
Now we have an X antibody underneath. Go ahead, and here we're gonna target.
Well, he doesn't. He's not a antibody. Mecha just counts as.
Well, yeah, right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
He's treated as a
Yeah.
I thought he was treated as Omnimon before. That was my fault.
So I'll target. Yeah, so I'll target his and my Omni, and then I'll, use the final Guardian or last Guardian to protect my other Omni.
Sure.
And then we'll get rid of his Zephaga Ace, which will like give me a little bit more memory to work with. He plays out the Gale and then keeps my not locks down, but suspends my Omni. Goes ahead and goes into the Grand Gale. Grand Gale will let him
suspend himself to give himself protections, and then he's going to go ahead and he's just debating if he wants to suspend himself and swing. He does go ahead after swing, does die though.
Tuck the boys there. Yeah. And here I'm like, okay, well, I do have a purge, so I can just go ahead and play it out if I needed to, which is why I...
So you can just go ahead and just do 2 damage right now if you wanted to, or you can Gallon out and do 3, potentially.
We do the Gallant. We go ahead, swing, hit the Shoto, trash top card to restand. Go ahead, swing again.
God, Gallant X does so much damage.
Play out the Omni, which will let me at least play out one of the other Omnis. We do have at least one blocker out. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, deal with it.
Zip attack, yeah. Okay, I'm just trying to put him in a tight spot.
One could argue I could have been a little bit more cautious and just like not swing with Omni and just say, okay, well, in case I hit something, I don't want to give him anything. But at this point, I'm like,
don't really.
Yeah, like the only thing would be a Tamer or like another like Scramble or whatever. But so he does something good here. So he goes Taro off of the Scramble, which will suspend the body. The Omnimon will go Gale, which will suspend my other blocker boy. Goes into the Grand Gale, will suspend itself to make it immune.
And then I think he just has this. He just evils into any Vortex Warrior.
Correct. And he was looking for it.
Yeah. Should be able to end the turn, use the EX7 Shoto to unsuspend himself, swing with Vortex into something, and then use the ST Shoto to redirect it into the player.
Right, exactly. And he's able to go ahead and swing. And like you said, use the Shoto to redirect it.
Yep. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, no, we're going to recover 3 cool boys.
But yeah. That's pretty good. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Outside of the little, I mean, the misplay ultimate didn't matter. Josh still got it, so I think it still works out.
Yeah. I just need to remember to actually read. I've been not doing very good at reading lately. I've been a little degenerate boy.
I never read, so don't worry about it.
But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, we'll be getting more in-person matches soon, so be on the lookout for it.
Yeah, this week there will be regular locals. Everything, like most people have their decks made now because of this weekend, so you can count on it. There will be stuff.
Yeah. And then I should be getting some product in too. So if we do, we get a box break live for you guys, whether that's a live stream or just a regular video, we shall see. Regardless, I will plan on streaming sometime like later this week, probably like Friday or maybe even Saturday or both. Who knows if I've got time. But, you know, we've done a lot of tournament streams, and I think that's been fun. I think that's been super nice to, like, hang out and chill with you guys. But I kind of want to stream where we just, like, actually, like, just chill. Maybe do some fun games, do some DCGO, talk about some decks, whatever you guys want to do. So if you guys have any ideas of what you'd like to see for that later this week, let me know. Like I said, probably planning on doing it Friday/Saturday. So we'll figure something out. I'll post in the Discord about it. So keep your eyes peeled. Thanks for watching as always. We appreciate you all. And we'll catch you on that next video. Bye-bye.